Well, welcome everybody back to the South Carolina Safety Speaks Talk. I am Darren Tyler, the Director of Safety and Compliance for the wonderful South Carolina Trucking Association. And this is,
Taryn Shakitka.
no, the beautiful Taryn Shakitka.
What do you want? I know Christmas is right around the corner, but come
That's
on.
why I'm doing this. No, this is Taryn. We joke around a lot, but this is a. I want to talk to you about some controlled substance and alcohol definitions. That it's a lot of them in
Yes.
Part 32107, but just some of the common ones that are sometimes overlooked, but it's so vital and critical in an audit or a compliance investigation. So we just want to kind of paraphrase some of these, bring up maybe 4 or 5 of them that we have in front of us, and just kind of go through them and
Break them down.
break them down a little bit. So the first one we have is actual knowledge.
So we kind of referenced this in our
Mhm.
last one,
Mm-hmm.
talking about who needs drug and
Yes.
alcohol reasonable suspicion training,
Mhm.
and that is supervisors
Supervisors.
and those who actually are in direct contact and over management of the driver.
Mhm.
All right. So actual knowledge, meaning I cannot come to you and say, Joe just stumbled out of his truck and
Right.
smells profusely of alcohol.
Mhm.
You have to witness that.
Correct. I have to have actual knowledge of it. I can't base it off hearsay.
Hearsay.
Yes. So, in paraphrasing that, I think you got to have actual knowledge of it. Anytime we're doing anything, we need to have what? Solid evidence. So I think you should have evidence of it so you
Right.
can do the documentation like you mentioned in the last session we had.
Now, isn't there like a certain number of things that you have to witness in order to show actual knowledge for sending someone for a reasonable suspicion test?
Yes, and to be honest with you, in 32107, it even talks about drivers being issued citations
Mm-hmm.
for DUI and things like that. That's actual having actual knowledge. Driver gets written up on a roadside inspection, and you saw that violation. That's having actual knowledge. Also, somebody comes in and like you just told me, I should
Mhm.
get up and go look and see and verify for myself so I
Watch.
can document
Right.
what is being said. So that is having actual knowledge, and I think sometimes we need to be aware of that. Okay.
All right. And the second definition is, what is a commercial motor vehicle? We get this question all the time.
And it's complicated for most people. So I
Yes.
guess simplified, commercial motor vehicle, getting the vehicle and the driver, making them applicable.
Right. Anything over
10,001.
10,001 pounds.
That's the magic number.
Used in commerce.
Using commerce.
So if I'm operating my own personal RV and it's, 32 gazillion pounds and I'm driving to Florida, I don't qualify. But
Yes.
if I operate any vehicle over 10,001 pounds
Correct.
in commerce, then I am now into the definition. However, for drug and alcohol,
Yes.
I don't have a CDL. So then I have to be over
26,001 pounds.
and have a CDL.
Correct. And there's some other criteria such as passengers and hazmat, but just to keep
Right.
it simple, so we're not overlooking that.
Right.
Yeah, 26,001 is your magic number in Part 382. So each part of the regulations, normally within the first 390.5, I have your definitions. Each section has its own set of definitions, and that is critical as well to know. So 26,001 pounds is your magic number here.
Right.
Okay.
And 16 or more passengers and anyone in hazmat.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So 10,001 commercial motor vehicle, 26,001 or more pounds, and we get in the CDL and then drug and alcohol.
Right.
Okay. Here's a good one, and it's gonna get tricky. So performing a safety sensitive function, and then the regular definition of a safety sensitive function.
So why do we talk about even safety sensitive? Because the
Yes.
regs say
Mhm.
that any knowledge of or belief of use, then you remove them that instant from any safety sensitive
Yes.
function.
Yeah, and we always thought, well, I'll say for me, with the feds, when you say sensitive, safety sensitive function, we think what? Just driving.
Right.
That's not the case.
No.
So anytime that the driver is in readiness status to perform a safety sensitive function, loading,
Loading,
unloading, and here's where we took the air out of the room. at one of our workshops when we told everybody, well, you know how you have that driver and you're waiting for the drug test to come back, the pre-employment test, and you say, hey, Johnny, go ahead and ride with Taryn for the day. That's a no-go. That's a safety-sensitive function. They can't even ride along and observe a driver trainer. You have to wait till you get that verified negative result from the MRO, the medical review officer, before you can allow that driver to perform a safety-sensitive function.
Right.
Very critical, okay? So if you have an auditor or a compliance investigator that goes into detail, which most of them do, you got to be careful. You can be dinged for, using a driver before you got a negative result on a pre-employment test, okay?
Yep.
So that's safety-sensitive function in a nutshell, all right?
What are we missing?
Um,
refusal. This is always a fun one.
Especially with the clearinghouse.
Yep. So let's talk about refusal. Refusal is, I'm not going to do it.
Correct.
I show up and I've checked in with the MRO and I leave.
Mm-hmm.
I walk out and I take a phone call in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of little nuances to what a refusal can be.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out the refusal is not necessarily submitted to the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse by the MRO. It should be done by the supervisor.
Yes.
And a refusal is not when you've offered me a job and I go to take a test or am told that I should go take a test and I don't show up for the test. Because guess what? I have not taken that job.
Correct. And that's where everybody's getting in trouble.
Yep.
On the pre-employment side is where we're starting to see a lot of this. Well, because the driver didn't go take it, even though we offered them the position,
right?
They can go all the way into the drug testing facility, sign in, and still say, I don't want to do this because I'm not going to take the job. And you shouldn't be reporting that.
Yeah, they could have gotten an email
Correct.
Offering them,
Correct. I think it's up to the point where
$40
they
an hour and
put the specimen in the cup.
15.
Yeah. So you got to be careful on the pre-employment. Don't end a driver's career, being spiteful, trying to do things because they didn't take the position with your company. So let's protect our drivers so we can keep them in the industry.
Right.
Randoms, on the other hand, post-accident, it's a different ball game. So once they get notified for a random and you say, hey, you have 15 minutes to get there and they don't go, that's going to be constituted as a refusal. So I think you hit them all on the head. And I know these phones are very distracting, and Darren might have told Susan at the desk, Susan went to go to lunch and Johnny's there, and they called my name, and I stepped out to answer a phone call. 3 times they called my name. That's going to be
MRO's going to reach out.
That's a refusal. So,
yep.
So that is, those are just some quick definitions that I thought we should, cover and make people aware. We've been on this drug and alcohol thing. Is one of the easiest regulations to comply with, but very, I guess, encompassing.
Also, one of the it's very detailed and tricky,
Yes.
but it's also one that's going to hit you the hardest
Yes.
when it comes to any sort of audit and compliance review.
Or if you're in some type of legal deposition or something like that.
Yes.
So, yep.
So let's wrap up this subject, and then we'll go on to some others.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for being with us today on Safety Speaks.
All right.